As consumers, we are bombarded by it at every turn, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now. And what's up, Obscurians? It's time for another episode of Obscurity Now, the show that takes a look at weird and almost forgotten pieces of media, and then we decide if they should be remembered for all of human history or tossed in the black void of obscurity, never to be heard from again. My name is Steve. I'm one of the hosts, and with me, he had a season pass to Diddy's freak-off parties. It's
Yahel, hey.
And you must be really, bummed that those parties won't be happening anymore.
They were kind of stressful.
Yeah, you were more freaked out than off.
Yes.
I think it's fun. I mean, it's so weird that it's like a freak off. It's like a contest, right? You try to see who the biggest freak is. Is that how it works?
I guess. I mean, I don't know. Why call them that?
I know. So, I mean, it really sounds like as bad.
It doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, let's not go down that road. All right. Hey, well, speaking of freaks, it's that time of the year again. That's right. October, where all the ghouls and freaks come out and ask for candy around October 31st.
The freaks, the children, Steven?
Well, I mean, you people and your the people who go to the castle. This is your month, right?
No, this is the normal people's month.
Right. To show up at the castle.
Pretend like they care.
Right. Exactly. It's true. It's just like Christmas in a way, when people show up to church only for Christmas. That's
sure.
All right. So in order to celebrate the great month of October, we've got a couple of things that may or may not be appropriate for the holiday. That remains to be seen.
What great selling point.
What? I mean,
No, it's just funny the way you put it.
What if we pick something that sucks? Then maybe it wouldn't be appropriate.
Well, we often do. So.
But I don't think we did this time. Spoiler alert. But I'm interested to hear what you think, as usual. We are talking about a recent film that may or may not be appropriate for the Halloween season. In Here for Blood. When was the first time you heard about Here for Blood, Yahel?
When you told me about it.
Yeah, trick question. Just making sure you're paying attention. Yeah, so nothing ever. I know you're never on Facebook anymore, right? So it never
No, not really. It's awful. I mean, every once in a blue moon I'll go on there, but.
Well,
usually to be annoyed that somebody messaged me on there.
Wow, I didn't realize you were so popular. I'm sorry. I'm sorry we bothered you.
I just hate when somebody messages me on there when they can message me a million other better ways.
Right. Well, what's your social media of choice these days?
I mean, if someone I guess is gonna message me something, I don't know, Instagram,
MySpace.
Maybe Discord or Twitter. Even that, I really only just use for promoting my channel, or if I've got to reach out to somebody that's in the YouTube gaming sphere that I need to deal with or talk to. You can
just say Tinder. It's okay. Tinder. Look at him drinking out of his cauldron. That's Mr. Halloween over here.
That's right.
Yep, and his Death Note shirt from 2012.
They're still making. By the way, did you ever read the new Death Note manga they did a few years ago?
No, I thought Death Note kind of ended with the anime.
Well, that's because you're a fool, Steve.
Wow.
No.
Damn.
No, they've done a couple things. They did what is it when it's at the end, an epilogue, right? That's when you tack something on, right?
Sure.
They released an epilogue, an animated epilogue, maybe 10 years ago now, but that was just a few minutes, but it kind of implies what ended up happening to Light after he died.
Uh-huh.
Spoiler alert, they basically imply that he became a Shinigami. But the story that they released, it was like I said, it was a few years ago. It was like during Trump's first presidency, because he's in it. He's in it.
What? Okay.
Yeah, never by name, but I mean, it's very clear that the president of the United States is drawn to look like him,
Weird.
from what I
Okay.
remember. But basically, the premise is a new Death Note fell, and this guy finds it, and he
Oh.
basically, like, is like trying to sell it to like government,
Mhm.
but it's more nuanced and complicated than that. It's really short, and it was released for free. I'm sure it's still available. I can get it for you. I'm sure I've
I
got it
feel like I
somewhere.
saw like a frame or two of those like float up somewhere on social media because I remember
It would,
seeing Trump in anime form.
yeah, it was short. I think it was like 20 pages or something. It was a
Hmm.
pretty quick read, but it was good.
Interesting. But yeah, well, should we dive into? Are you here for blood, Yahel? Because I am.
I thought we were here to discuss Death Note. I was going to bring up Netflix's excellent
Is
adaptation.
it? Is it really?
No, it's
Oh,
terrible.
okay. All right.
Ryuk looks amazing, and Willem Dafoe was a great choice to do the voice of Ryuk, and he does a really good
Hmm.
performance. But you also don't see enough of Ryuk, and the story is it's more Final Destination than Death Note.
I mean, you always get a good performance from Willem Dafoe. Doesn't matter if
Yeah.
he's in a like a Cheerios commercial or a Netflix adaptation of a or an anime no one asked for.
He's one of those guys that like even if he doesn't try hard, he's so
Oh
good
yeah, all he has to do
that
is
he's like
show up and show his
incapable of
face.
phoning it in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's got like that face and like
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
voice, so it's hard for him to phone it in.
100%. So let's see if any of the actors of Here for Blood phone it in, shall we? Huh? Huh?
Sure.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
All right, before we dive into Here for Blood, got a couple of announcements that I know if I don't say at the beginning, I'm going to completely forget and never mention it. If you are listening to this episode when it drops on Sunday, you should come to LA Comic Con and listen to the panel that I host all about creating your own audio drama, which features voice actors from the audio drama I made, Ray Can't Sleep. Um, it's in a room. I'll look it up and tell you later. Oh, and by the way, if you were left in suspense from our last episode where I was trying to tell Yahel the title of a movie that I thought starred a wrestler, it's this. It's Here for Blood. So we decided to go ahead and be Here for Blood. And also, if you backed the Escape to Earth issue 3 Kickstarter, the comic book is done and is going to be sent to the printer either today or tomorrow. Any other announcements, Yahel? Are you gonna you want to tell everyone about your Tinder profile to look you up on?
No, I don't have one of those,
Oh,
Steven. But no
wait,
announcements for me,
wait.
Steve.
You
Other
don't have a Tinder?
no, I'm with someone.
What?
No,
But
I
I thought
don't.
that's like the easiest way for you to like prey on people.
No. I can do that in real life.
Yes. Old school. I like that. Just like the old school effects in Here for Blood. All right. Speaking of Here for Blood, are you ready to discuss it?
Yes.
The vibe's all off in this episode. I don't know why. All right, so Here for Blood premiered at the Toronto After Dark Film Festival, October 9th, 2022. And for some reason, if you don't like Canadians, then you're probably not going to like this movie because it's filled with Canadians, produced by Canadians, and probably made for Canadians. But you're allowed to watch it if you're not a Canadian. Just letting you know. And it is 1 hour 40 minutes, rated R. And here's the synopsis. When his girlfriend is swamped with college exams, a pro wrestler agrees to cover her well-paying babysitting job. What starts off as an easy night quickly spirals into bloody chaos when a murderous cult
Dun, dun,
comes to
dun.
abduct the child. And this is directed by one Daniel Turris. What's your favorite Daniel Turris film?
Oh, I it was one of the ones that were previewed at one of the freak offs, so I can't really talk about it, unfortunately.
Good answer. He's only done 2 previous movies, which actually look like they might not be too bad. One called Fresh Meat, which is about like I don't know, influencers getting hacked up by slashers or something.
Oh, funny enough, I think I've seen
Yeah.
that.
Oh, see, I knew you were a Daniel Turris fan.
Let me look it up.
And then he's got another film called Terry's Car Gets Stolen, which is on Tubi, which kind of looks like a madcap kind of action or crime comedy kind of deal. It's on Tubi as well, as is this movie. I actually went ahead and already added it because it looked like it might be kind of fun. And Here for Blood is actually written by James Roberts. And everything else he's written is nothing. Here for Blood is his first and only credit, according to IMDb. So who are some of the thespians that brought Here for Blood to life?
Well, I have not seen Fresh Meat. But as far as Here for Blood goes, Sean Roberts plays our lead, Tom O'Brien. He's been in a ton of stuff, actually. He was in Resident Evil Afterlife. He played Albert Wesker. Well, he's played Wesker in a bunch of the Resident Evil movies, actually. Which do you remember that character?
Oh, I remember Wesker quite well. I just don't remember when did he start, or because like how many Resident Evil movies are there total? Like 4 or 5?
No, I think there's like 6.
Even more. Like
there's a lot of
maybe he wasn't
movies.
as big in those previous episodes as he is in this one.
Because I mean, there was a one in 2016 called Resident Evil: The Final Chapter, and I don't think that was the last
Wow,
movie.
how very Friday the 13th of them.
I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not gonna look it up right now, but yeah, I want to say there's like 5 or 6. He looks like he's in 3 of them. But you know what's funny is I'm sure he wrote his bio himself. It's got that vibe. You know what I'm talking about with these IMDb bios.
Do you want to read it?
But sure. The year 1994 marked at the beginning of the career for Canadian actor Sean Roberts. That already.
I love it.
Born in Stratford, Ontario, Canada, on April 2nd, Sean looked upon a life-changing break. Well, he has kind of a long bio, but so I'm not going to read the whole thing. But just really strange wording, like here. Throughout the rest of the 1990s, Sean generally remained on television.
Wow, generally, okay.
Just generally showing up on various series before striking gold with his first movie appearance in 2000. He was Rogue's boyfriend in the first X movie. Anyways, but the reason. I want to read this last sentence. The career of Sean in 2000, he gained a part in that first X-Men movie playing Rogue's boyfriend Cody. Since 2000, the career of Sean Roberts thus balanced out appropriately well between television and film.
That is the most Canadianly written thing I've ever heard.
But the reason why I know is because the height listed is 5'10" and 1/4 inches.
Wow. Did he put his oh, never mind.
He also won the Culture Beat Award for Most Attractive Canadian Actor in 2017.
Culture Beat? Is that like the Canadian version of Tiger Beat?
I think it's a magazine that's sponsored by Tren.
Oh yeah. I was going to ask
that's an
you,
anabolic steroid.
Do you think Sean juiced for this role?
I think he was juicing before this.
Okay. All right. Well, you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway.
But yeah, he definitely has some telltale signs. It might be HGH. At one point, he did look like he had an HGH gut, but where it's like you got a gut, but yet there's like abs in it.
I know it well. Yeah. I see it every morning.
I can't believe you're saying that about Santa.
Oh. Jesus.
She doesn't listen, right?
Not anymore, I hope.
All right. Anyways, playing Tom or Sean Roberts, whatever, the main character's girlfriend is Joel Farrow. She plays Phoebe. She has not been in quite as many things, but more things than I expected. I thought she was kind of like one of the weaker performances in the movie. Nothing of note, really. Just a lot of Canadian stuff. TV, it looks like. Then we've got playing Grace, which is like the little kid, Maya Misaljevic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to pronounce that, but and I thought she was pretty good. And I'm usually not a fan of kid actors, but she looked familiar, and I looked it up. She played. I don't know if you've watched The Boys, but she played young Starlight in one of the episodes.
Which season is that?
I haven't seen the newest season, so I guess it had to be what, season 1 or 2?
Yeah, I don't remember.
It's in season 3. Never mind, season 3. So I guess I've seen the first 3 seasons. Yeah, 'cause season 4 is the newest one. Yeah, and she's been in quite a few things, but again, like, I mean, always playing like a kid, so nothing of note per se. Then we've got.
Of course, you don't consider kids like actual human beings, so nothing of note.
No, I don't. I don't. She lives, unfortunately. Then we've got playing Barbara. I can't remember. Foster was the last name. It's not listed on the IMDb here. Is played by Tara Spencer Narn. Really weird last name. But she's also been in quite a few things. She's got 69 credits to her name. She's been in. The one thing I recognize her from was an episode of Killjoys that she was on, which was like this like sci-fi channel original that was on a few years ago.
Does sci-fi even exist anymore?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I mean, I don't have cable, but
who does?
I'm pretty sure that they're still around.
No one under the age of 60 has cable.
Yeah, she was in 107 episodes of some comedy called Corner Gas, and I was like, I've never even heard of this. And it was rated like 8.4 on IMDb, so I looked into it. It was like a Canadian sitcom, and I guess the lead is a Canadian comedian. And everyone's was like initially like in the reviews like just raving about how funny it is. And then I got to like some of like the 6s and like 5s, and they're like, I don't know if this is a Canadian thing, but this show's like very average at most. And I don't know if people are talking. Then people went on to describe the jokes, and yeah, it's just a very generic sitcom. I
see.
But that's what people like. But I'm assuming since it was a Canadian show, you know, the reviewers are just too polite to
exactly
put down what they really think. Then we've got playing her husband, Gil, is played by Michael Thuralt. He's been in quite a few things as well. Most recently, 13 episodes of the Chucky TV series.
Recently canceled, yeah.
Oh, it was canceled. Well, you know, it had like a few seasons,
it ran
right?
for a bit. There's nothing to be ashamed about. Yeah.
I mean, especially these days. I mean, you're lucky to get past 3 seasons, you know. There's way too many people in this cast. Playing Mike is this guy Kelly Penner, nothing of note there. Playing Christine, Samantha Helt, nothing of note there. I want to talk. Bernie is played by Jesse Buck. I don't think this guy had any lines. This is the guy that ends up just horrible things keep happening to him. The guy that ends up with like the oven
to the face,
burning him.
Yeah,
the stovetop to the face, and his fingers cut off and stuff. He's been in a few things as well. He's got 20 credits to his name, but again, nothing really.
What do you think, since we're already talking about that guy, what do you think about his performance?
It was good. He was kind of one of the highlights for me.
Yeah, he hammed it up pretty hard.
Yeah. He like understood what he needed to do to make that work. Because it's like with that, you have to go balls to the wall ham. Some of these other guys that play like the big dudes, they're not, or the bad guys, they're not named in the movie, but they're named like in the credits. The bald guy that he fights towards the end, his character's name is Meat. He was played by Marc-Andre Bollinger. I assume that he and Shannon probably shared a lot of tips about, you know, injection sites and that kind of thing.
I hear they injected each other in the ass right there on set in front of everyone.
Yeah. And hey, don't get me wrong. It takes a lot, you know, steroids aren't magical, right? I mean, these guys are still putting a lot of work and the dieting and all that stuff, but they're definitely roided to the gills. But yeah, this guy, again, nothing of note. He's had quite a few parts, you know, playing heavies. He also has done some stunt work. There was a TNA wrestler, Channing Decker, that played one of the bad guys called Loverboy, but I don't think this one was ever demasked.
Right, I don't think so. Yeah, he's the one who basically, he's hanging out in the
barn or
he's
whatever.
Like the very first kill, right? He's in the shower. He looks like Sting, basically, right? The Crow Sting?
No, because that guy comes back later.
Oh,
That
okay. Well, we.
that guy with that mask is later. Like you when Shannon, or excuse me, these the characters, and when Tom beheads the one guy and brings it out, he shows it to that guy with that Sting-like
Right,
mask.
right. I'm just trying to figure out which one is the Sting ripoff. That's all.
There was a guy in the barn that didn't really do anything, and I want to say it might be him. Um, Anyways, and last but not least, I mean, I'm not going to go over everybody. I've already went over more people than necessary. Dee Snider plays the voice of the Head, which I almost feel like was a character written just to have Dee Snider do
Right.
something. But
They just wanted to have his name on the marquee. That's all.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, and that's pretty much our characters.
All right. So we're not going to walk through the movie as we normally do because it's new, and I'm pretty sure they want as many people to watch it as possible. But you should go watch it now because there are some twists and turns, and we don't want to spoil anything for you. I will start with our cold open here, though, and basically a woman returns to her like beautiful, massive house. But I guess this is supposed to be like on campus, like housing or something, because it's revealed later she's a college co-ed, and she goes inside like the bathroom area and starts calling out to her roommate. And they just go ahead and show us that the roommate is like in the shower, like curled up in a ball, like bleeding, basically.
Yeah.
And then our co-ed who's not bleeding, she enters the bathroom, and then that's when she's face to face with, I wrote down, not Crow Sting, and he like stabs her. Then he like touches her face all sexy like and stabs her again in the stomach. Then he grabs her hair and like looks into her eyes like this, and like pulls back the knife like this, and then bam, we hard cut to a missing poster like being put on like the study area or library of a college. What were your initial thoughts on this cold open here, Yahel?
I mean, it was fine, I guess. It really didn't do anything to pull me into the movie. I mean, I had low expectations because it's a low budget movie. It's on Tubi. But I mean, I thought it was fine, but I also think it didn't really do anything to like set up the movie at the same time, because it doesn't like touch on anything of the later stuff. But I guess they wanted it to be like a big reveal, like the cult stuff or whatever.
Yeah, I think they do a pretty decent job of like doling out the information as the movie goes on. I think like the main point was to sort of give you a taste of what you're gonna get, which, I mean, basically this whole movie is, bad guys descend on like house, like one location, and we're not exactly sure if they're not zombies, they're not like vampires or whatever. Yeah, they're revealed to be cultists, and I don't even remember basically how this college girl even plays into what's revealed later. But what did you think?
Nothing.
Yeah. Well, what did you think when I guess they were just practicing, like not Sting just really wanted to go out and kill someone.
Well, I mean, the bad guy said that the what seemed to be like the leader of the guys or whatever. He did say something like that they have to sacrifice like lots of
right college co-eds,
whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess she's just like one of the many that have been sacrificed. Sure. Is the idea.
Well, what did you think when you saw like? Because it's weird. I think I saw online like the picture of not Crow Sting, and at first I thought like this was going to be a lot of like sort of in jokes to professional wrestling fans because as I said, the main dude he's basically a professional wrestler, and but it turns out I was completely wrong. I mean that just happens to be his occupation basically, and it's Canada, so you go with it, right? What were your thoughts when you saw Not Crow Sting?
I honestly had pretty low expectations at that point. Like I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of like the trope of like scary mass killers in horror movies. It just seems like
so you don't like slasher movies?
Like I mean, it's just I just feel like right now in particular, it's like done to death.
Well, I mean, it's a genre that's been around since the 80s. And yeah, I mean, it's not exactly fresh, but I'd say this is like I said, less of a slasher and more of like a multiple bad guys descending on, our protagonist, basically. But
I guess. I mean, the one thing I will say though about this scene, that the opening scene or whatever, that I did think was bad, was that like the girl that gets killed, she doesn't like even scream or anything till after she's like at the very end, like stabbed a million times. He's about to stab her like one more time. And like one thing that happens in this movie is people will see somebody that's clearly like a bad guy about to kill someone or do something, and they don't do anything.
right, they just
They just sit there and watch.
I don't know. I guess the idea is that they're in such shock, or maybe
But they even have Tom do it later.
right. I mean, I was gonna say, or the second one is they just don't feel like filming a bunch of chase scenes, I guess, because they're too expensive.
Maybe.
But yeah, so we move on, and yeah, basically we're in a college, and this sort of sets up the premise here. It's our what's his name's girlfriend, Sean Roberts. His character's name is, come on, load, you piece of trash. Tom, yes. Tom's girlfriend, Phoebe, she is hanging out with her like sort of bougie college friends, and basically she's just like, oh, I'm swamped with exams, but I also have to do this babysitting job, and it pays really well. I can't turn it down. And one of them gives them the idea to have Tom, the big old gruff professional wrestler, stand in for her to be the babysitter. Do you buy this premise, Yahel? Do you buy it?
I mean, it's a little weird, but I mean, I've seen worse premises. Because at first I thought it was gonna be like that she wasn't gonna, that she was just gonna have him babysit for like a few hours and like not tell the parents or whatever. I'm like, this seems like something that somebody probably wouldn't do. But I mean, they explain later that like she had told them about it or whatever,
right.
so.
I mean, not only are they
parents.
accepting, I mean, but they pretty much have to be due to stuff that happens later in the film. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. My thing is, I mean, I can go with it, but really, isn't the whole point of being a babysitter is like, after you send the kid to bed, you can just pretty much sit there and do whatever you want, being, studying or raiding the fridge, or, left swiping on your Tinder account. You know what I'm talking about, right, bruh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've never babysat, but yeah, sure.
Well, I was thinking what do you think of Sean's portrayal of a wrestler IRL?
Oh, I thought it was pretty good. The guy apparently doesn't wrestle, but he like goes through the motions of a match, and for a guy that doesn't wrestle, he did a pretty good job executing the stuff.
As you will see, dear listener, in the next scene, like basically after we're done with Phoebe and her college friends, we get to see Sean in action in the ring in the opening credits, which is actually a pretty fun opening credits sequence. Like basically when he's about to do a move, they pause and then they show the person's name. What did you think of the whole wrestling scene here?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was pretty well done. Maybe went on a little too long. I did think it was weird that it finished with like a suplex.
Yeah, and then the guy in the
that
crowd,
was his finishing move.
He was
just like
so into it because like it was like a delayed suplex. He's like holding him up there, and then when he finally lands, and the guy squeezes his beer and it explodes, which is supposed to represent something. If you get my drift.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It just went on a little too long, and like that was an odd choice for me.
Right. I mean, really, we all know the only move worth orgasming over is the Canadian Destroyer. I mean, I don't think he's going to be pulling that off.
No, I don't think so. And he's so big that you like can't really get a stunt person. I mean, I guess you would have had to like find like another wrestler, I guess. Sure. So,
absolutely,
it was fine.
And yeah, basically the next scene is Sean and Phoebe at home, and she breaks the news to him. I need you to do this. I've been helping you with your bullshit wrestling career. She doesn't say that. She's like your typical kind of, sweet girlfriend kind of person. And she's like, I've been helping you with your tights and injecting you in the ass with, steroid after steroid.
I thought like they were actually going to say that.
It's like, you owe me. And eventually he relents. And what I like here is that, he says he doesn't know anything about, taking care of kids and stuff, and that he'll be viewed as a creeper, which, I mean, that might be a little bit of a stretch. But I was just like, man, I could definitely see Yahel going through all of this stuff right here in real life.
I mean, I would never have agreed.
Right. You would have already broken up with her at this point.
Yeah.
And then there's also the scene late before that where they find out you never saw the crow, and then it would be over.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so basically he shows up to the house, and the parents of the kid here are acting well, especially the dad is acting very kind of sketchy, for lack of a better term, kind of like on edge. And like there's when you're first watching it, I mean, you kind of I guess it's kind of hard to register, or you're just like, man, what's with this guy? What a spaz. But without
Right.
spoiling anything, it kind of makes sense if you continue watching the movie. And like there's a scene where he's like, is there anything weird about the girl that I should know about? And the dad is like, like what? He's like a peanut allergy or something. And he's like, oh, no, she's fine. And then they basically just pay him and leave. What did you think about the parents' like performance throughout the film?
At first I thought the guy playing Gil was like terrible.
Yeah, me too.
Because he was just so like, like, oh God, oh, you're a man, and just little weird. But it kind of made sense later on when it's revealed that him and his wife are like basically in on this whole thing.
Oh, that spoiler, everyone.
Are we not gonna go over that?
Well, I mean, I already warned everyone, so it's fine.
Yeah. So it made more sense, that he was acting that way.
Yeah, because I thought it was like that. You know how like I don't want to say the word millennial, but it's like that Gen Y CW style of acting. Like that's what I thought it was. Where every other it's like, ooh, how you doing? You know what I'm talking about? Like
yeah, it was a little like
that's
that.
what I thought. But at least there was a reason for it. It's not just like, ooh, I have no confidence. Ooh.
Yeah, because I mean, clearly we end up. See, it's gonna be hard to talk about this without any kind of spoilers,
fine.
but
just let them fly.
It makes sense because he was probably thinking, oh, it'll be another girl that we can offer up.
Right. Instead, you get
sacrifice.
Big old roided up meathead.
Right.
That's going to be a little bit harder, and boy is it for them. And yeah, so basically they leave, and that leaves Sean alone with the young lady, Grace. Right, that was her name. And yeah, Grace is okay. I was afraid they were going to go, too cool for school, like little girl. And I'd say she like rides the line pretty well.
Yeah, there's a couple times where you could say maybe it falls into that, but I mean, it felt realistic. Like at one point he comes in to the room and he's like, oh, because he heard a noise and he's like, did you trip or something? I thought I heard something. And she's like, no. And then he leaves. She like whispers under her breath to herself, oh, what a nerd. Yeah. Like I could see a kid saying, something, like that. She does become a bit of a hero, Right. She kind of figured would happen, but
yeah, basically the noises that they're hearing are the weird like ghouls or whatever you want to call them, the cultists. They're up in the attic shuffling around. And one of them comes down while Sean is, I can't remember, he's like drinking or making popcorn or something. Cookies. Was it cookies or something? Anyway, the Grace is playing video games. Of course, she's got her headphones on. I guess that's how old is she supposed to be? Like 12 or something? Probably playing Minecraft, you know what I'm saying? But and then the guy like creeps up on her back and kind of like peers over her head, and she looks up. And I thought that was one of the instances of some of the better cinematography that's used in this. I liked a lot of the camera movements. Like, what do you think about the cinematography overall?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Like my only real problems with like the directing or anything like that in this again is just when the when there's those few scenes where like something dangerous is happening and someone's just kind of like watching it and not really reacting.
Right. And I would say one of my first instances where I was just like, and where you sort of just have to go with it, because I don't know, this is a horror movie and a horror comedy at that. Although I'll say that it takes itself seriously enough, but basically the pizza man shows up, and because they had ordered pizza prior, and of course the guy, he recognizes Sean here, the wrestler, and he's like, "Hey, I've been training too. Feel my muscle." That ever happened to you, Yahel, back when you were on the floor scene?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so he like asks for a selfie and stuff. I mean, and it's your like, typical, I guess, wacky pizza guy performance. And then, all right, so he gives him the pizza and the exchange is over, and he's about to get in his car, and pizza guy, he sees one of the cultists like creeping around, like, and the guy had to be like 10, like 12 feet. Like, I think he's like hanging out by their shack or tool shed or something. And he's like, "Hey, dude, like, what are you doing over there, man? I'm going to call the cops." Like, why would you even go over there? Right?
Yeah.
Like,
it was, well, I mean, that's kind of a horror movie trope though, right?
Sure. I mean, I feel like this movie is like, it's throwback without actually being a period piece. It feels very, 80s-ish, and I would say in a good way, if you're looking for that kind of thing. But you do have to suspend your disbelief. So anyway, we get our second kill here, and basically the guy gets knifed up like pretty good. What do you think about the practical effects here done by the Butcher Shop?
They were pretty good, I thought. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I don't think they used any like CG or blood elements at any point. Like what I'm talking about, like green screened blood
I know
elements.
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everything was done in camera. It's like really over the top to like a lot of like. In fact, there's at one point like a joke where somebody gets beheaded and like the blood just keeps coming out, and then they kind of cut back to it. And at one point, they kind of just like stay on it like as part of the joke because it's like just nonstop. But I thought it was pretty good. What did you think?
I loved him. Very reminiscent of Evil Dead 2. And I would say, in general, this movie is a throwback to like an Evil Dead 2 type kind of movie. And yeah, I loved the makeup effects. I'd say they're probably the standout of this movie. But if this is like a throwback to Evil Dead 2, how close to like Bruce Campbell is Sean Roberts in like the horror pantheon?
Oh, I don't think he's that close. I mean,
no, definitely not.
I mean, the guy does a pretty decent job. I think some of the comedy bits, like to me, were kind of hampered by like. So the guy that plays Tom Shannon, his delivery was usually pretty good, but like when he was with Phoebe, like, oh man, I just thought she was not very good at all, and she would kind of take me out of stuff.
Yeah,
but.
like he, I don't know, he kind of just plays regular guy, and yeah, I feel like when Bruce is like getting like blasted in the face with like blood, he really like hams it up and stuff, where I think like Sean probably could have given a little bit more. He's kind of more a mid-range, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, although I will say, like on this guy, Tom, like he is like huge,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Whereas Bruce Campbell's not like buff or muscular at all, so I'm actually in some ways surprised they made him as goofy as they did.
Yeah.
Because he is kind of goofy. And I think it's good. I think it works that they did that. And so he's not just like a straight up muscle
right.
head.
He actually takes like a bit of damage. I think at the beginning he gets slashed. He gets his foot, like he gets stabbed in the foot.
Yeah, like stabbed right through the foot.
Yeah, so
and it takes a long time for him to like basically recover from that.
Yeah. So he's definitely a human being and not like a Superman, which is definitely a good thing in this movie or this kind of movie, and it just makes you like him a bit more.
Yeah.
And yeah, so let's see what else I have here. Okay, stuff like that after kids got bad. But yeah, any highlights you care to mention?
Um, I mean, I guess since we're talking about, you kind of brought up the practical effects. We can probably just kind of like just talk about those in
Yeah.
general as they throughout the whole movie. Because yeah, they do one thing, another thing which I also hate, but they do it in a way that I liked, which is I hate whether it's in horror movies or professional wrestling. I particularly hate this. They're like, oh well, it's a creepy demonic character. Just give them contacts.
Oh
You know.
yeah, they did that with that one guy. Yeah.
So yeah, but what they did in this movie, they have contacts which are like orangey red, but they went ahead and in post production did like a glowing like emission
Yep.
effect coming off of them. So and you don't really see that
Right.
often. And it was really well done. It's not something that's hard to do, but I'm just kind of surprised they spent the money to have someone do it. So yeah, I like that. When they turn into like these like zombie-esque like creatures, the makeup on that was really good. Um, the guy that we talked about earlier, whose face gets like shoved into like a hot burner,
Yeah.
stove burner.
Yeah.
He gets his fingers cut off. All the makeup on him looked really good. Yeah, was there any other makeup, any other makeup bits that you thought looked good?
Well, I would say I don't know if they would look good, but like, what do you think of their like white masks?
I mean, I thought the guy with the mask that's upside down was kind of cool. Especially when he does the shot where he goes upside down, like basically like the girl's hiding under the bed, so the camera's under the bed from her perspective, and he looks down, and because his mask, the chin is up
Right.
top, so it looks like an upside down face. When he bends over, it looks like the face is right side up now, but the mask still looks upside down. I don't know. It was a cool
Yeah, that was
visual, I
just
thought.
a good planning there on
Yeah.
the director's part or cinematographer, whoever came up with that.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that because, like, what a simple. I mean, it's simple, but it's such a great idea, and I don't recall ever seeing something like that.
Sure. Yeah, I dug that. And they also did kind of that classic trope that I would say it's more from zombie movies, especially Return of the Living Dead 2. I don't know if you saw, like, basically Sean's girl or Tom's girlfriend, Phoebe, and her, like, college friends show up finally. And so you know what that means. It's basically just more cannon fodder for the cultists. And
Sure.
like the friends that are with Phoebe are boyfriend and girlfriend. So of course, like the dude, he gets like diced up like immediately. And later on, I can't remember what causes it, if it's like a spell or something, but he basically comes back to life. And of course, he's evil. So then they basically do the whole, oh, look, my boyfriend is back to life. I should go let him in, kind of trope. And I mean, I think it's perfectly okay in this movie, and it was executed well. And I'm pretty sure she ends up getting diced up pretty good too because of that, like
Yeah.
by him. And there's also a scene, and this again, sort of like a classic kind of trope, where one of the cultists is chasing Phoebe. She gets a whole like basically her and Sean like take him down, and she just like knifes the shit out of him basically, and he's like sitting there watching her like,
Right.
"Are you okay there?"
Like, whoa, come down, babe.
Yeah.
I think you got him, babe.
Yeah. The one thing I definitely feel like, and I think this is a pretty decent script. I feel like they do a lot with their limited budget, but they didn't really lean into any sort of like Bruce Campbell-esque one-liners that I can think of. Does any dialogue or anything stand out to you?
No, I think you're right. I don't really think that they did anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know. We're just trying to steer clear of that, but I like a good one-liner. So I don't know. If they ever do a sequel, maybe they can throw some in there. And I think like that would be the one thing that would make Tom O'Bannon, a wrestler and cultist murderer, maybe not as memorable as one Ash Williams. Is that just didn't have a lot of memorable dialogue. That's all.
Yeah, I could see
But
that.
as far as being a spokesperson for Trin, oh boy, he's got that job.
Indeed.
I mean, is there? What did you think of the climax of the film, basically?
So you mean like when they do the like the big I'm almost like what is the climax? This fight with the bald guy? Is the climax when, he opens that big door at the end?
It's a good question. All right, what do you think about the fight with the bald guy?
It was okay. I mean, I thought like it was interesting how like of all the wrestling moves that they only have him do one wrestling move against these guys, and it was just like an elbow drop over and over to the ground, and I'm like, man, that's like the lamest.
Right? Yeah. I mean, they could have thrown in like fireman's carry onto like a brick, something like that.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised they didn't do more like with the wrestling stuff.
Right, because like there's actually a different synopsis online, and where they say a rowdy wrestler has to take care of a kid, blah blah blah, and like cultists show up. It's like, are they trying to like insinuate that he's somehow like Roddy Piper or something, or was that just to get more?
I didn't take it that way, but maybe the marketing material.
Yeah. But yeah, there wasn't. They should have leaned more into the wrestling aspect when he was fighting the guys, like for sure. His like kicks were pretty decent though, as far as like wrestling kicks were concerned.
Yeah, this guy. I mean, all the physical stuff that he did, and I have to assume that he did most of his own stunts just because of his size. Right. It all looked pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think they should make another one of these, or am I already asking too much?
I mean, they definitely left it open for a sequel.
Oh yeah, because it ended with like one of them still being alive, right?
Yeah, the guy that gets like
face
the
oven
guy that's constantly getting tortured, the oven face.
Oven face guy. And his name again was, we got him, Bernie, that's his name.
Bernie, yeah. Even though they never say his name.
Right. Yeah. So they were definitely doing that. I wonder what other people thought about this, but are we at verdict rendering area yet, you think? Anything else you want to say about it?
I mean, not really, because I mean, I don't want to give away any more than we already did. The most of the kill scenes are pretty good and fun. We kind of did already. I gave away, the twist, but there is a little more to it than that. So, what did you think about just the comedy in general in the movie?
I thought it was. They did a decent job of writing the line. Like, there's plenty of stuff on Tubi that, tries to make something like this, but then the comedy is like so over the top or stupid that it makes kind of like the whole movie pointless. Like, at least with this level of comedy, you can still sort of care about the characters and the story. There wasn't anything that I thought was that totally cringe, but at the same time I didn't really get any belly laughs. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Every once in a while, there were like a few chuckles here and there, but for the most part, like, I didn't think it was like the comedy was kind of mostly missed for me, but it was still like a fun movie,
right?
This isn't anything that is going to set the world ablaze or whatever. Right. But I agree.
All right, you ready to render your verdict?
Let's do it.
Remember, you are rated. That is the question.
All right. Yahel Velazquez, should Here for Blood be a part of everyone's Halloween watch list?
Wow, everyone's Halloween watch.
Or oh, wait, let me finish. Or should it be, I don't know, left on Tubi with like all the other Tubi originals that you've probably never watched?
I mean, for one of these like newer, cheap movies, it's definitely one of the better ones I can recall seeing. I think if you got nothing to do and you got 90 minutes or so to kill, it's fine. You could do worse. I'm gonna say remembered.
What a glowing review.
you could do worse.
I think it's definitely worth one watch, if not two. There's a lot to like here, especially if you're looking for old school special effects, no CGI. Your leading man is pretty likable, if not maybe just a little forgettable in the dialogue department. But if you're like a big hunk of beef, he's here for you.
He is that indeed.
Yeah. If there is another one, and maybe they have a larger budget, maybe they could do.
You're gonna say a larger man.
Yeah, larger budget with more steroids. Maybe you can get a larger man. Yeah.
I'm like, what do you want him to do? Get like have somebody like kill themselves doing steroids for this movie?
The big show will be in the next one.
Yeah.
But I definitely think it's worth one watch. I mean, it's on Tubi. I mean, you've got nothing to lose, basically, except for 90 minutes of your life, and that's not too bad considering you can watch piece of trash streaming shows like Monsters on Netflix, which will take 10 hours of your life away. So, for all those reasons and more, Here for Blood will be remembered.
In accordance to Obscurity Now, the most important streaming YouTube podcast in all of the internet, you shall be remembered. Yes. Good show. Good show.
So, are you excited for Halloween this year? I get the feeling you're not excited.
I mean, it's fine. I don't really have anything planned this year. Do you?
I mean, just trick-or-treating with my son, like last year, basically. So, no, nothing really.
No, not really. But hey, good for you and your son.
I'm sure you and your cat will be doing something. Or is it cats plural? And the dog. I mean, you guys you'll have a whole feast.
Well, one of the cats died. Thanks for reminding me.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm sorry. Well, that's a drag. I'm sorry to hear that.
That's right. It was a while ago.
Wow, you're looking for fake sympathy over here?
Anyways, so do you guys have anything special planned? Because like last year we went to like Halloween Horror Nights, and we did like the fast pass stuff, but even then, like it was just like, I don't know, like the houses I just like don't find really like scary. They're all kind of like the same.
No, I feel this. Once you've been to a couple of Horror Nights, you should I would recommend.
And what? I was gonna say there were only like a few that were like really interesting as far as like being done like in a cool way or whatever, like the design or so like that was a little bit of a bummer. So
well, I hear this year they're gonna have a Here for Blood house. You should go check it out. No. All right, if you find, and this goes for anyone who's listening, if you find Halloween Horror Nights a bit on the stale side, you should check out, like, have you ever been to Howl Scream at Busch Gardens?
Yeah.
You didn't like it?
No.
Oh, wow.
I went there a few years ago. It was the last time I went, and it was like kind of depressing. It was like very sparse.
Oh, really? When I went, it was jumping, but that was like, God, almost 10 years ago now.
Yeah, I was really surprised. It was like way worse than when I had been before. Like there were like really no like scream zones or scare zones or whatever. Like it was weird.
Well, that's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, if you live out west, you can always check out Not Scary Farm. That was a pretty good one too. But nah, I mean, I doubt I'm doing any of that stuff. It's expensive, and plus, My son is a coward, and he's afraid of everything. so yeah, I mean...
Sorry, he's not tough enough for you.
Yeah, well, I mean... Don't worry. After this, I'm gonna duct tape him to a chair, tape up his eyelids, and make him watch Here for Blood several times in a row, and that's gonna make a man out of him.
Perfect. Now this is parenting.
Then come the roids. But no, I think anything else you want to talk about? Oh, and I am serious. That show Monsters is trash, absolute trash. Don't watch it.
No. I think you pretty much covered it.
Well, I mean,
But yeah, as you mentioned, it is on Tubi.
Mm-hmm.
The movie.
Here for Blood.
Here for Blood.
I mean, we've already moved on from that. I was asking you about your personal life. Anything you want to talk about? Throw out the, your Tinder ID or whatever.
No, I really don't have a whole lot going on. I'm just working on my, still working on my NBA Jam video. It'll definitely be done by the time we, and out by the time we meet next, I'm sure, because it'll probably be out, not this weekend, but by next weekend, I would think. So yeah, just been working on that. Nice.
Awesome. And, I've got that room number for the panel that I'm sure all of you are going to show up to. And here it is. It's at 4 p.m. this Sunday, room 402B, where you too can learn how to make your own audio drama for virtually no money. No money down.
Except the money they have to pay you to enter the panel.
Well, I mean, I'm not getting paid that money. That money is going to whoever organizes LA Comic-Con.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just...
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Hey, maybe I should collect the money. That'll be a whole $20. Probably. No, it's going to be packed. It's going to be a great time. You should be there. Yeah, all right. Well, make sure you join us next time for more Halloween hijinks. You like that? You like that alliteration?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're right.
All right. I'm trying. I'm trying so hard. All right. We will see you guys next time as we unearth more obscure media only on Obscurity Now. See you next time.
You've been enjoying Obscurity Now, a podcast that's recorded live to tape and streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode or hilarious quip. Take us with you by following the download links provided in the show notes to wherever you get podcasts. And take notice of our various social media links. If that's what you're into, I'm not here to judge. And make sure you join us live next week at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific as we continue to discuss more obscure media only on Obscurity Now.